Okay, so this probably isn't the worst feature in Rec Room, but in my opinion, it's one of the most disappointing and underdeveloped features despite how prominently it's displayed in the game. If you couldn't tell from the thumbnail, the feature I'm talking about today is the leveling system. I'm sure that you've all played a video game before and know how levels work, so it probably doesn't need too much of an introduction. In Rec Room, you start out at level 1 and you can gain XP all the way up to level 50 by playing Rec Room original games and spending time in community rooms and some other stuff. As you gain XP, you'll level up and get random items in the game that get higher in rarity as the closer you get to level 50. It also takes exponentially more XP to level up as you progress, so for example, getting from level 40 to 50 takes longer than getting from level 1 to 40. So basically, it works exactly as you'd expect it to work, and yet it is so flawed. Here's why. My first issue with the leveling system is that you aren't currently using code BVRR in Rec Room to support me. I mean, come on, all you gotta do is go to the play menu, click enter code, and type in BVRR. My second issue with the leveling system is that you aren't subscribed yet. All you have to do is go down. Okay, for real. My biggest issue with the leveling system is that it just stops at level 50. Once you hit that maximum level, you gain no more XP and are just stuck there forever. If one of the main goals of the leveling system is to show how much you've played Rec Room, then it completely fails on this front, because once you hit level 50, there's no way to tell between a person who's spent 100 hours gaining XP and someone who's spent 1,000 hours gaining XP, because you just stop gaining it. And I'm not saying it's super easy to reach level 50. I mean, it'll still take you a few weeks or months depending on how often you play Rec Room, but spoiler alert, between you and me, there's a lot of people who play Rec Room for more than a couple weeks or months. If there's gonna be a leveling system in a social game like Rec Room where people spend hours and hours every day playing the game, then that leveling system needs to actually properly reflect all of those hours instead of just throwing them all away once you hit an arbitrary limit. Let me take you on a little history lesson back to one of the only major updates that leveling has ever received. Back in the first part of 2020 and all the time before then, the maximum level in the game was 30. And it had the exact same problem that we currently do, except that it was even worse because level 30 was even easier to reach than level 50. And then we finally got it in August 2020, the big leveling update that everyone had been waiting for, and it did not fix anything. This is the update that changed the curves a little bit for how easy it is to level up, raised the maximum cap to level 50, and also changed up the rewards you get from leveling up. So yeah, for like 2 or 3 months, there was way more level variety in players between level 30 and 50 because people were working their way up. But now here we are in 2022 where pretty much every active player is now level 50 again, and we're at the exact same problem we were at in 2020 before, except 20 levels higher. Here's 2 things that I think this update could have done, or a future update still could do, to make this not a problem anymore. First up, they could just add more levels. I know, crazy idea. If the maximum level was 100 instead of 50 and it still got exponentially more difficult every like 10 levels or so, then only the most dedicated players would ever hit level 100, and it would take years to do it. This way, the maximum level would feel more rewarding when it was actually reached. More dedicated players would still be constantly working to reach it because of how long it takes, and then newer players would still be able to get through the first 30 or so levels quickly to get them all their gift boxes and stuff because it's not exponentially harder like all the higher levels are. And if this seems like I'm just pushing the problem off until further in the future when everyone's level 100, okay, then just add a prestige system. There are a ton of multiplayer games with leveling systems that do this. Once a player hits level 100, just add a little star badge next to their name on their profile, move them back to level 1, and make them do the whole climb again. And then just add a star for every time they hit level 100 and keep making them cycle through it over and over again. This way, there's a mathematically infinite progression loop with the stars on their profile still showing how much they've played the game without their level number ballooning into some insane number in the thousands. The main issue I could think of with this is the current gifts distribution, because right now, every time you level up, you get some sort of gift. So I know some may say they'd have to redo this entire gift progression or expand it if they expanded the amount of levels, but honestly, like, by the time you're level 50, I don't think you're gonna care about whatever headband you might get when you level up next. At that point, people just want to see their level go up so they can show it off to other people. So I really don't think most people would care if after your first 50 levels, you just stopped getting boxes every time you level up. I know I just spent like a lot of the video talking about one point, but I really wanted to highlight everything relating to it because honestly, it is the biggest problem. The next problem is something that you might not even know exists. When you're gaining XP in Rec Room, there is actually a limit to the amount that you can earn per day. And this limit is kind of laughably low. Yes, you heard me right. There is a completely arbitrary daily XP cap that has absolutely no reason to exist. The game does not tell you this daily limit exists, and it does not tell you when you hit this daily limit. You just have to hope that if you're grinding grinding, you notice your XP stops going up. The only reason I can think of that this exists is that they didn't want people to just grind up to level 50 as fast as they could and reach it like the day after the update came out. But honestly, this is the stupidest decision ever. Why would you want to punish your players for wanting to play your game more? If someone wants to sit down and spend 48 hours grinding to the maximum level as fast as they can, then let them do it. I think either way, the solution to this problem is just to remove the XP cap, but at the very least, if it can't be removed, then send players a notification telling them when they've hit it. But also, if what I said in the last part is implemented with the prestige system and infinite levels, then the XP cap definitely does not need to exist, because nobody's gonna be grinding to the maximum level, because there isn't one. XP cap gets a big thumbs down from me. My next problem with the leveling system is that it doesn't account for all play styles, and I'll explain that. Currently, the main way to get XP is by playing Rec Room Originals. I'm pretty sure you get the XP when the game is finished. You can also get XP just by spending time in community rooms, and I'm sure there's some other ways you can get it, like completing daily challenges or getting kills in paintball or whatever. I'm not gonna pretend like I know every source of XP in the game, because they kind of purposely keep that a secret, but the main ways are just by playing Rec Room Originals. Now, back in 2017, where there were only Rec Room Originals, this made sense. People got XP by playing the game. But now, Rec Room is a very different game, and having Rec Room Originals as the only reliable source of XP is a little weird. Here's an example. There's people in Rec Room who exclusively socialize. They go around to hangout maps in the rec center, and they just talk to people and meet people. This is fine if they're in public instances of community rooms, because you gain a little bit of XP just by spending time in them, but not really that much. But while you're in private rooms, you gain no XP. So if this person wants to go into a private room to just talk to their friends, they will not be gaining any XP from that. And for someone who spends the vast majority of their time socializing with their friends in private rooms, I'm sure you can begin to see the issue here. Or how about a builder who doesn't even like Rec Room Originals or socializing with people that much, they just want to make and publish rooms? Well, they're also going to be spending pretty much all of their time in private rooms building or doing circuits and publishing rooms. This is why a lot of the top builders in the game still are not level 50, just because they spend most of their time building instead of playing Rec Room Originals. Different people play this game in different ways, and more ways to gain XP need to be added to account for that. For example, for builders, what if when you publish a room based on the amount of visits it gets, then you get XP from that? So if you make a really popular room, then you'll get a whole bunch of XP and a whole bunch of levels. For the private room thing, honestly, I don't know, because it kind of makes sense why you can't gain XP there, so you can't just sit AFK in a room and farm. I'm sure there's some solution to still allow people to gain XP in private rooms in some circumstances, but my monkey brain just can't think of them. This next one's really small. I'm not even moving where I am. Well, here, I'll move over here. Ooh. But basically, the rewards you get from boxes right now kinda suck. The majority of items you'll get are random 2 stars and 3 stars that you'll probably never even wear. There's a couple of 4-star boxes thrown in there near the end, and then of course, once you hit level 50, you get a single 5-star box. Wow, a single 5-star box with a random item in it that you don't even get to choose, so you're probably never gonna wear it, because it's probably gonna be something you don't even want. Like, come on, I know there's an economy to run here and stuff, but at least throw in a couple more 5-star boxes there. The players deserve it. For this last section here, I just want to address something, because I know some people are going to be like, well, levels aren't really that important. It's just supposed to be a fun little thing, you know? And then once you get to level 50, you're done. And honestly, this is a valid sentiment. I sort of get the vibe that the devs regret adding a leveling system into a social game, because having levels sort of promotes competition more than it promotes socialization, which is where the game has been shifting from and to recently. But then I ask, if levels aren't supposed to be important, why are they displayed right next to your name, above you, everywhere you go, and on your profile? If levels really were not that important, they would have just been slowly phased out and removed by now. But no, maybe the devs fear community backlash about that or something, so they've just sort of left them sitting there in an awful, terrible state that only I care about. That's about it. If you want to see me get an orange cube to the most bought invention in the entire game and give away a frick ton of money to a bunch of people, then click this video here, but otherwise, I will see you next time. Goodbye.